So everything you hear, including my voice, your voice, um, anything creates a frequency and it reacts with us and it will amplify depending on what's around us. So we can listen to a frequency, and I like to use the example of niacin because that makes your face flush. And
Yeah.
so when you take the pill, your face flushes. When you listen to the frequency, your face flushes. I have sound equipment. I can look at all the frequencies in my body. There's about 1,000. I play, 444, and then I can watch that slowly start to build in my body. So I listen to it, I take it just like food. There's a food, it's got frequency, it's got energy. I eat it. I now have in me the frequencies of these nutrients, and my body has fun with it and takes it off and uses it in body chemistry and frequency formulas. So we are frequency and we exchange freely
Yeah.
with food, sleep, friends, house, whatever. So,
Yes. Very interesting. I got a question from Glenn, and then I want to dive into one of your newest discoveries. But Glenn has actually been using your MP3s on low volume, playing them all night while he sleeps. And he's wondering if he should listen to them at a high volume while awake or while he's sleeping.
okay. There's many things that can influence you with sound. Loud is not necessarily better,
Yeah.
um, because you have different ways sound comes in your body, and you need them all. So
Mm,
sound can come in your ears, and it goes to your brain and to your nervous system, and it quickly goes to your entire body. Sound also comes in your skin, and you have little receptors, and they take the sound in a different format. It's called analog, but it's a different data pattern, if you will, that probably, according to physicists Becker and Pop, say it influences your consciousness. So little tiny frequencies, um, I mean, you are your consciousness, can influence the whole thing. And you also get sound through resonance. So you can be deaf
mm,
and somebody's playing an organ tuner here, like a heart tuner. Well, that's going to exchange energy with your heart because you have the same frequency. And just like the violin thing we talked about a little earlier, then you're going to set up the exchange and you're going to start to fill up this heart until it has enough to be in balance and healthy. And there's studies on animals with sciences that show when you tune something in the body, then the body heals itself.
awesome. Is it for someone like Glenn who's listening to the frequencies, should they listen? Is it more beneficial while you're sleeping or during the day, or does it matter?
I think it's probably really good to sleep with them.
Hmm.
And going in without your subconscious getting in the way. And low volume is perfect for sleep. It's also really good to do it during the day. The nice thing about being conscious is that when your body is using the frequencies, which are embedded just underneath the volume of the music, when your body has had enough of those frequencies, then you will like the music less.
Wow. Okay.
So let's say, health is like 20 hits of these 1,000 notes. And I see I'm really, really low on 220. So I listen to 220. Well, I can listen enough that I'm now high.
Right.
So when you listen to the music, you have that kind of like free dosage message, saying, okay, this music has now healed me. I'm in balance at this time, and I can drop this one off. Now, maybe later you need it, because you go through stress and you have this and that, and that you might get
Right.
out of tune again. But I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, no, it helps. So Glenn says, I always wake up feeling good after listening. So that sounds like a great thing. Now, if he ends up feeling like he doesn't need it or feels different, now you go to another frequency. So very exciting. One of the things you've discovered is that there's something that's affecting a lot of people all over the world. What is it you started to uncover, and how does sound and frequency play a part in this?
All righty. You charged me with coming up a program about like a dark darkness within the body and going to light. And when I looked at all the sites for like major illnesses, major causes of death, heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, I started going through the big things that um, kill us. And the inflammation is a precursor to all of them. So I
Mm,
just started Googling around and I saw sites, some sites, it varied on how they measured cause of death, but some were up to 60% of deaths worldwide are caused by inflammation. Now, why is that? So let's say you have, I don't know, cancer here,
hmm
but the problem with inflammation is that inflammation sets up the situation for this host of diseases to unfold. And it starts as a pretty simple process. You cut your finger. Well, the body's going to put in nutrients and fluid, and the blood's going to allow more nutrients to come in so you can cut it and so it can heal the cut. And then you might get infected, or it might get red, it might get hot, it might hurt, it might get inflamed. And that's all processes to help you protect that cut. But the problem is that we get inflammation from our bodies naturally. We get them from a cut. I got my notes here. It's a huge list. We get them
it's a
from
lot.
pathogens. We get them from a virus, germs, toxins, infections, stress, aging, medicine. We get it from sugar imbalances. I know I love my sugar. The diet, the white rice, the bread, it causes spikes like in your blood sugar. And therein comes the inflammation, trying to balance that out. Who would have thought? Um, the fats, you overheat your fat, and then that also
hmm
tricks the body into thinking it's got like the cellular damage, and it comes in the inflammation response. So, alcohol, weight problems, smoking, poor sleep, stress, medication like steroids. If you're taking steroids readily, you have a lot of chronic inflammation issues. External issues, foreign objects, the stuff you eat. Most of the diseases that have an itis are inflammation caused, like bronchitis, dermitis, cystitis, et cetera, et cetera. So you can kind of see how that works. And then what happens, it's like autoimmune. You get all this inflammation going over. It's damaging your arteries, it's damaging your veins, it's damaging your nerves, it's damaging your organs. And so everything's get all uh, inflamed, and your body doesn't stop. And your body doesn't stop, your body doesn't heal. It gets stuck. It's like autoimmune.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's amazing the list. A lot of people don't realize that inflammation is not just like a few things. They're finding now that inflammation is behind like most chronic diseases, things
Yeah.
like fibromyalgia, lupus, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, right? That's chronic inflammation of the joints. Cardiovascular disease, we were talking privately. It's like that's a response in your
Hmm.
body from the little, cholesterol
Hmm.
pieces hitting and pelting the arteries. The body has an inflammatory response, and then that creates the thickening and the laying down of some material that then inflames the artery. Carditis, gastrointestinal diseases, asthma, right, is also a chronic
Hmm.
inflammation of the airways. They get swollen. You
Yes, it
can't
is.
can't breathe. That's what's happening. So you take some
Bronchitis.
sort of
Yeah.
drug to like calm them down. Crohn's disease, now thought to be inflammatory. Celiac disease, colitis, right, is inflammation of the colon. I could go on and on. Metabolic and endocrine disorders, things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Obesity now is actually linked to low level inflammation. Even some people feel like depression and anxiety is linked some way to inflammation. So there's a lot. Alzheimer's. Now, I was just
Mhm.
going to say that when these little pathways in the brain that are basically carrying blood, but these are tiny, tiny, tiny little capillaries, they get inflamed primarily through cholesterol and some of that,
Mhm.
affecting those arteries. Then you have problem with blood flow. Areas of your brain don't function, and then you have issues with Alzheimer's and other things.
And
So,
it's cumulative. So, like as it attacks and you get a scab, which you
yep,
do on your nerves and those tiny little capillaries, then it blocks and you've got a flow problem. And
yeah.
that's, you can see that in a heart attack and a stroke.
So I got to ask the question, everybody. Did you realize that inflammation is, Jill, you found it was like the number one cause of like death for people? Was
In
it
my
the,
mind, it was. And so
yeah,
when I was thinking of selecting a piece of healing frequencies, I just thought that's the broadest and most comprehensive.
yeah.
I, from my personal self, can't imagine not wanting to listen to this all the time because as life goes on, you're going to need it again and again. And so are my loved ones.
Yeah, and family members and friends. And it's also kind of, I don't want to say the world is inflamed, but it feels like the world is kind of like, I think of it like that
Yes.
rock in the shoe. Like it's inflamed, like it just keeps getting punched, and it's like it's just not happy. It's a lot of people are feeling that. But you look at things beyond just sort of one side of like this is a situation or this is a symptom, this is a condition. You look just like what's the underlying frequency. So when you opened up these different vaults, you started looking at what is the frequency behind inflammation? What is the frequency of inflammation? Did you discover anything there?
Well, the actual frequencies, I've got them here. They're about eight or
You,
nine
you
for
can name them.
reducing, but I'm
Jill
sure
knows
that's,
it down to the number. She'll give you the whole
yeah.
combination.
So that's kind of boring, but
Yeah.
if you, because there's the inflammation response, there's swelling, there's redness, there's heat, there's all kinds of, and then that's going to react a little differently on maybe a nerve versus a tissue. So you got a fair amount of frequencies. But I think one of the things that we had talked about earlier was I went into meditation and I was thinking about inflammation and I was asking just to receive.
Yeah.
And this is what I received is
Mm,
that it kind of parallels the most important thing going on in this very challenging negative energy time. Um, Negativity is coming out from politics. My goodness, from the schools, from parents, from partners, from politics. I mean, it's everywhere. And when you start to look at always getting bombarded with this negativity, the primary step that humanity's on at this time is it's like this insidious thing working underneath the conscious level, much
mhm.
like you have diabetes, but maybe the endocrine problem is probably causing it. But we just think of the stuff on the surface. Or with inflammation, we think, okay, I have heart issues, but you need to get rid of the underlying the thing you're not aware of. That's the inflammation that's feeding it. And what is feeding us in an emotional level, what I
Mhm.
got was that it was lack of self-love.
Wow.
How many people tell us, um, well, we're only going to invite people that are really good at this, or, I want my best friends, not you, or so and so did better at this, or why didn't you do that? You could have, you should have. Um, we get it in the schools, we get it in religion, we get it at home, we get it from loved ones. And we get this self-talk and we're not always aware of it. Like I'm very careful to watch my self-talk, but so I lie to myself and I have these doubting feelings
Yes.
underneath. And when I really start to look at it, I look at a series of layers of lies. Like an example.
Mm.
Okay. Someone says to me, "Oh, yeah, I heard about what you do." They're rolling their eyes. And then I go away and I start to feel a little bad.
Yeah.
So then I say, okay, I'm feeling bad. And that's all I'm conscious of. So I'll stop myself and I'll say, okay, why are you feeling bad? Well, so
Mm.
and so just insulted me and basically said I'm kind of wacko.
Mm.
And so then I get underneath that. Why does that hurt your feelings?
Right.
Well, because I try so hard, I'm so sincere, na 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 na. And then I get underneath that and then I thinking, well, am I inappropriate because she condemns me? She's angry at everybody. She don't like anything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then I get under that, oh, okay, so I just gave her power to make me feel bad, to condemn me, and I don't even respect her.
Yeah.
So I get underneath that, and then it's like I'm feeling like I'm not enough because she's not approving me, life isn't approving me, whatever it is. And I really get down to it. It's like, can I love myself? I mean, is
Right.
God a liar? I mean, are we children of God?
Right.
Are we born bad? Is he? So if I can believe in myself, then I empower myself. Health comes around pretty good when you're feel in charge and empowered and good. When you're loving other people and have that kind of warm connection, that helps your health, that helps your manifesting, that helps your relationships. And when you look at all the difficulty coming in, um, the single most thing to um, overcome it is to love yourself first, because
Yeah.
then you become love, and then other people, then your loved ones want you. Your loved ones want to come. You heal by being in the presence of people. If you can honor your own divinity and self. And to me, that's what I was given in meditation is the emotional counterpart of clearing up your inflammation. It's like a
Yes,
paradigm
you
shift.
you nailed it. You nailed it. And we're going to get to that age-old question because a lot of people will say, "Well, just love yourself." And so, "Well, I've been trying for 50 years. How do I do that?" Well, we're going to talk about how sound actually gets in, and you've figured out the frequencies
Mhm.
down to the mathematics of unlove, of inflammation, of stress, and you now can create kind of like the anecdote, right? To
Mhm.
ingest, right? We're going to talk about this, and I think the world is catching up. I did a little quick research. You type in these search engines and you get like immediately AI answers your question. So I asked the question, is there, I just said emotional cause of inflammation. Let's see what comes up. And here's what I got. There you go. Negative emotions like stress, anger, and sadness can cause inflammation by triggering the body's fight or flight response, which leads to the release of stress hormones and pro inflammatory cytokines. This can become a chronic cycle of prolonged stress. And there you go. Stress response, cytokine. And you see, it's not that the lady is going to attack you or take away your livelihood, but it's that feeling like, gosh, I'm not accepted. I'm not loved. And the subconscious does not necessarily differentiate. It can feel just as traumatic as a lion coming at you right now because it just takes it in and it responds, it reacts. Now, you discovered actually, though, I think what's pretty interesting is that the body actually has certain frequencies, it has certain things that you can use like a code. I think of like a combination or anecdote to stop inflammation in the body. Now, we're going to dive into this, everyone. Let me know if you're enjoying this discussion because you discovered, Jill, there's a way to do this. There's actually a ordered process to actually begin reversing, breaking down, changing how the body is actually functioning with inflammation. What did you discover? What was the first step?
Okay, I want to do that, but I want to butt in and just
Yeah.
make a little comment and then answer a question. Okay, in antiquity, music was used for everything, and it's used for enlightenment and healing almost everything, including the heart and allowing you to open up to more completeness, wholeness, and love. And that has nothing to do so much with the frequencies, it's ancient musical techniques. So
Mm,
I do in many things within my music just the music, the melody, the sound, to bring in love and feelings about yourself. So I have silent tracks where I meditate and I pray. I'm a channeler, and that energy records. So I can bring in the great masters, and I have that on silent tracks. Sacred geometry creates, and in certain ways, you can literally record the feelings. And what I've learned is the science from music. So,
mm,
like phi or the Fibonacci or the things you find in nature that feel good, they have certain wave patterns, and that's music. So,
mm.
in my music, I have tracks of love, I have tracks of higher evolved people, I have all kinds of portals and different tracks of ways to open up to the field. Now, what's the field?
Yeah.
The field, maybe science calls it dark energy and dark matter, but in it's chi in other traditions, prana, life force. And when you create these portals and you do it beautifully in music,
Okay.
um, you just get rid of normal waves just for a second, and in comes more fine, higher energy that's very healing. It's higher dimensional. That's why people go to sacred sites. That's why there's sacred hymns. That's that's even in your breath, between the in and out breath, that split second. If you really focus on it, it's very high energy. And so what I do is I pack that music for these little portals to just make it easier and to love yourself again. Okay, so
Wow.
now we're going to go into our three-step process. Thank you for the listening to that.
No, that was profound. Because this is the way that this can finally reach us. This can get into the bones, so to speak, and we can really embrace it. And if even if we don't believe it, even if we don't embrace it, the frequency is doing the work. I mean, that's what's really exciting. It's like it's going in, it's being absorbed by
Mhm.
the skin. It's putting the body in resonance. What do you think about that? Sabia says, wow, well, she says, very beautiful. I love how that was explained. I do too. I really do. Pockets of portals opening up. Yeah. Well, Jill, so tell me, you notice the body has kind of like these cycles a second of frequency sets, and you started unpacking that, and there's certain codes that can be used to actually start to unwind inflammation. So tell us about that.
Okay. Um, about 1910, medicine in the United States was much different than today. They were embracing homeopathy, frequency healing, nutrition, exercise, all kinds of things. And it was about 1910, 11 that I think it was the AMA came out and pretty much said medicine is pharmaceuticals and surgery. And
Yeah.
you go off these other traces, the other paths, we'll take your license. And indeed, the frequency machines were confiscated and destroyed. And today, many people know about Rife, which is a typical type of one of many different types of frequencies, probably the only one that we really have much knowledge about. And Rife goes in and he comes up with reciprocal frequencies like 10 times 1 over 10 cancel out. So he would go in the body and measure like a pathogen or of cancer and then give you the reciprocal. But there were many, many, many more. And there was a lady in Canada, Carolyn McCacken, and she found an old frequency machine. And
Mm,
it has a different approach. It approaches the body health more in line with what we've been talking about here. She's saying that one of the biggest processes or problems is inflammation. And you've got all this attack on the body. The body will heal it itself if you can get it to calm down.
okay.
So in there, they had like maybe 8 or 9 frequencies. I have them here,
Okay.
like 40 hertz. And, anyway, I've got about 8 or 9 of them. So that they're like codes, like a Morse code. So when the body hears these particular frequency or frequency combination, it knows to back off the inflammation response. And then the next step is that there's also another code to get rid of, to soften, to loosen, and remove scar tissue. And
Mm,
that would be getting rid of chronic inflammation. So think that, you're a smoker, good way to get inflamed. And you
mm.
keep smoking and, stuff builds up in your bronchi and then gets blocked. So what this frequency does is that it dissolves that and then you can open up your channels again. So
So,
they had a frequency for getting rid of the inflammation, getting rid of long-term inflammation, aka scar tissue,
mm,
and then like improving they called secretions, it's 1910, different vocabulary, maybe circulation, so that the flow, so that your body's operating, communicating, and working together as a whole.
okay.
And then, oh,
Interesting.
one other thing.
Yeah.
So they had those frequencies, and then they made like a double sound. So I got this little
Mm,
generator, sound generator, and it takes the two sounds and you can actually hear them. They don't combine into one. And one will be a part of your body, like let's say a capillary in your vein in your head. And then we'll put in the inflammation and it'll start to loosen all the crap in there that's blocking. And then you apply scar tissue, and that gets rid of it more. And then you apply circulation. And then you go through the body with that kind of like two-tone approach, and you
Mm,
hit all the organs and so forth. And then they can breathe, they can heal
mm.
themselves.
Wow. Wow. Let me know what y'all think about that. I've never heard this before, other than when Jill and I talk privately. It's the first time I've ever heard this. This is
Oh, and
amazing.
one other thing, though,
Yeah.
really important. I was so excited about this because she trained other practitioners.
Hmm.
She was curing like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, bronchitis. I mean, all these things that we don't have a clean
Wow.
cut, easy answer for. She's curing them completely. And so she started teaching practitioners all over the world, but mainly in Canada and Australia. And she has over 100,000 case studies of this working.
Interesting.
What a track record.
Yeah, very interesting. So there is a process to this. First thing is we want to stop the inflammation. You also mentioned to me that the nerves are affected. We talked a little bit about scar tissue, but nerves are also something that I
Absolutely.
guess are part of that. It's almost like a puzzle, right? What did the nerves have to do with this? And then how did you address that?
Well, same way I did everything else. There's
Okay.
frequencies for nerves. And believe it or not, your nerves get full of crap.
Full of
We're talking
crap.
little
Okay.
tiny particles, but it
What
doesn't
is
need much to,
okay.
to block a nerve channel. And when a nerve channel's blocked, you get the inflammation response. So you got something hurting, like you say, oh, my nerves and my pain here and pain here and pain
Hmm.
there.
Well, that's
Well,
yeah.
that's inflammation in your nerves.
Well, that's right. I know I hurt my sciatic nerve over the summer lifting a motorcycle engine the wrong way. Um, and something was touching the nerve and blocking it and affecting it. It hurt like heck. So, little things affecting the nerves can be absolutely painful. So the first step is to figure out kind of how to unwind the inflammation. The second step is kind of unwinding the nerves. And then the next step is dealing with the scar tissue. Now, I'm curious where the scar tissue could be. Is that all over the body or different places like
Yes.
arteries, things like,
Yes.
okay. Explain a
Even
little bit more
within
about
the
that.
organs,
Okay.
within the bones, the tissues, the muscles, the proteins within everything,
Yeah.
because we tend to, I mean, I previously only thought of like maybe blockage with a heart attack, because that people say, oh, I got a
Sure.
heart
Very
blockage.
common.
But
Yeah.
what I learned from this is that process happens when you breathe poisonous air. I live near Canada. They have the Canadian fires, and the air sometimes is really bad.
Hmm.
Um, you can walk on your lawn and pick up chemicals that way. I mean, there's a million ways to um, have
Yeah.
problems with inflammation.
So we want to follow that four-step process. And this is kind of what was discovered to begin to unwind this. Now, how did you put all this into the music? Because the real fascinating thing is that Jill discovered this through research, through what's been shown to work through this alternative set of practices. But you are taking it and putting it into music, which I think has got to be groundbreaking. Now, how did you do that? I mean, how do you go through
Okay.
the step by step process? And then we are going to get to some callers because I do want to take this to folks. Maybe you are dealing with something, maybe there's something that you're feeling, and we can probably give you an idea, Jill, and maybe, I can ask her, it's kind of in my own fumbly way, whether something would be helpful for that because she's got a list of frequencies that's going to knock your socks off. But Jill, yeah, how did you bring it all together and make it work?
Okay. I'm a musician, and I found that I channel music. Actually, I think all musicians do. I believe it's a matter of how conscious they are of what's going on.
Mm,
I think you can be conscious of just the vibes around you, or resonance. And so, like, I go into a peripheral state, and sometimes I'll feel like when I'm channeling. So, anyway, I create the music. But I've learned through antiquity that many things are important, like rhythm patterns, your
mhm,
circulation, your breathing,
mm.
even the creation of proteins. It's a rhythm pattern. And
Mhm.
tuning, I have an ancient Chinese tuning method. Key signature. It's it's key. And as a musician, I didn't realize this until recently. I thought key signature, well, you always want the one easy to play in. No. And so, I mean, there's just so many different ways, like um, volume, panning, musical techniques, like glissando, because sometimes the frequency with a tissue, it can
Mhm.
vary just a tiny bit with people. So, if you put like a or a vibrato on it, you're going to band it and you're going to be good for everybody. So I create the music, which takes me a long time. Then I go in with my sound generator. I use one outside because computer generated online sound generators that most people use for this are not accurate. So I create the double signal, and then I
Ah,
record it.
okay.
So and then I can have 50, 60 tracks. So I'm recording the frequency. Um, like there was one, two,
50, 60
there's six.
tracks on one track, like layered, right?
Yeah. So like,
Oh
if
my
I'm going
gosh.
to do the inflammation, there's six different frequencies. So I'll do six, each one of them with everything in your body. And then I'll go to the second one with everything in your body. So you hit a lot of them. And then I think I have two or three for scar tissue, but I'll back them each up with everything in your body. And so I have this ton of tracks. And
Amazing.
and then I'll pan them different because in antiquity I learned all about the direction in which the sound comes. So there's a million things you can do. And then I adjust the volume so that you listen to the music and right underneath it comes the healing frequency. So it's pleasant. Because if not, it just sounds like a nasty refrigerator hum, with all these tones. So I sculpt it right underneath the melody. And
Oh,
what you perceive is the beautiful music, which is very relaxing, and I've got all
right.
this other stuff in the music to heal. And then the most impactful sounds are usually not those that are heard, as we talked with Glenn. Sometimes there's the most impactful frequencies are coming in from the stars or from nature, and they're usually hitting your skin and coming in that way. And that's the one that hits your consciousness. So, kind of like the soft embedment I have of all the healing frequencies.
Amazing. Amazing. And yeah, so what we're hearing when we listen to the frequencies is not necessarily the full story of what's going on. They could be 60 different
Correct.
embedded layers in that.
Correct.
And we're just kind of going, oh, wow, that's nice. It's a spoonful of sugar that makes the medicine go down. I guess it was Mary Poppins that said that. But this is frequency medicine, right? And it's holistic. I want to grab some folks and get to some questions. So go ahead and raise your hand. And what I want to do as well, because I want to dive into some of what you created, Jill. So I'm going to pull up here the page that's got some of the amazing different creations, and we're going to kind of walk through maybe for different folks what Jill feels or sees that might be useful. And Jill, if you want me to scroll down, just do that. Or as you're kind of
Okay.
channeling, be like, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Okay, stop. And then we're going to dive into this. So let me unmute some folks and we're going to be walking through this. So whatever you're going through, let us know. And then we're going to dive into this. Let me go to, I'm going to go first to none other than I've got Rosemary. Rosemary, you're live with Darius and Jill Mattson. How are you doing today? You certainly could turn on your camera if you'd like or not. How can we help you? What's happening?
See, here.
There you are. Hello.
And I had a feeling you were gonna call me.
So you're like, I better get my camera right.
I just had this feeling. Anyway, so
Well,
hi
you look
Jill.
great. You look great. What could be wrong?
Hi.
You look wonderful. There's nothing wrong. You're great.
Thank you. Hi Jill. So I was wondering if there's some kind of frequency that can help in that the Chevron refinery had an explosion just a few weeks ago. Okay. And I live in Venice and it's south in El Segundo, not too far. And I feel there's stuff in the air that has affected me that I'm allergic to because my eyes, the skin under my eyes is all red. and my eyes like kind of hurt. So I'm wondering, anything that
Sure,
you can help with?
sure, honey. Thank you for asking, Rosemary. Above the Clouds has inflammation removal. Um, and inflammation, of course, is going to be caused by those kind of toxins perhaps coming from the air. So it has inflammation removal going into the bronchi. So that's above the cloud.
Oh, right here. Yeah. I see it. You
Yeah,
wrote it all
and
out.
let me
Hmm.
see. And also the Leaf's journey. There I'm going in and cleaning the scar tissue in the bronchi, in the breathing tubes. Let
There
me
it is.
see. I probably have it someplace else, but I have it there. Breathing secretions. Okay. I guess I would go for those two songs.
And how would listening to these, like how often is it something daily? Because you may, unless you're experiencing symptoms, how would you know when it's time to move on, Jill?
Um, I did a lot of experiments on myself. So I can look at every frequency in the body, thanks to sound health options. But at any rate, so I look at all my frequencies and I see where I have a deficit. And if I play that frequency, I love it. I mean, I can
Oh,
even
there you go.
measure my oxidation and heart rate. My body changes. I have visceral changes if I'm paying attention. And so I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I listen to it. I'll pick it out over others. And and when I can see then on my graphs how the frequencies accumulated in my body. And when I get to 0 point and then I build up what I need, I no longer feel pleasure with that listening. So, as far as dosage goes, something like your bronchial tubes, they're at least somewhat soft and flexible. So, they're going to take a fair amount of listening because you're changing a tissue, where something like a bone is going to take more because it's more dense. But I would listen maybe daily for 3, 6 months. Why not? It's pleasurable. It's easy. You don't have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to take your time, and then you'll find yourself liking those songs. And
Hmm.
then over time, you'll get tired of them. And when you're tired of them, your body's saying, "Yippee! Thank you very much. I've had enough." Is that fair?
Yeah, thank you. And I hope this helps other people on the call, regarding with stuff in the air.
How
Is that,
kind are you?
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
There's
Thank
a
you.
lot of that. Thank you so much. There's a lot of that going on. And a lot of things happening with folks. I want to go to Susan. And Susan, I'm going to unmute you. I think this is the Susan you were asking perhaps about something related to eyes.
Yes, thank you, Darius, very much. Hi,
Yeah.
Jill. I've worked with you. I have your MP3s, the latest ones. My question is, though, I'm a
Okay.
little bit afraid to use the scarring ones because I have a scleral retinal buckle that's held on by scar tissue. And that's the only thing holding it on to keep my retina from detaching. Will those MP3s affect the scarring in my eye?
Well, I don't have the scarring frequency connected to anything in your eye.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I don't know what else to say other than that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
doesn't sound like it's connected to. Okay.
All right. So I could be okay in using then it won't affect the eye.
I don't believe so. And again, let your body dictate to you. Do you like the music?
Mhm.
Yes, because I
You
know
pay
I like the
attention to that.
music and
Okay.
I like the inflammation ones. I've been using that every day. My body really craves that lately.
The inflammation one works fantastic.
Believe me, whoever's listening to this program, get her MP3s. I am proof it works. My husband and I exercise twice a week now. I come home and do the inflammation, the two different ones, the original and the other one, and also him. We have no sore muscles. I have
Wow.
flexibility. I'm telling you, it works. And your body does let you know if it doesn't,
Yeah.
because you will get a little irritated with the music. I'm serious. It's like, no, we're turning this off. And I mean, I use it every day. So does he. I use it in the morning, whatever,
Mhm.
with inflammation. And now all my inflammation is gone. My muscles are moving. It's like I never exercised. So thank you, Jill. You're like a miracle worker.
Wow. Wow.
Thank
Thank
God
you,
I
Susan.
found you. That's all I can say, because you're a blessing. And I mean, that's from my heart. And I'm proof that it does work, because I'm one of these that is a very hard challenge. But I don't know. I don't care how she does it, but it works.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
all
that's
I care about.
amazing.
So
Oh,
whoever's out there, I hope this helps everybody. No matter what the problem is, Jill has an answer for it through music, and sound does work.
Mhm.
no, that is
Even my
amazing.
husband, who was a skeptic, says, well, I can't disprove this. I have no aches and pains, and he's doing hard exercise. We're 71 years old.
I went to the gym today, and yeah, sorry about that. I went to the gym today, hard exercise. It's funny because I just came down now after listening to the anti-inflammation one, because I had overdone the muscles. I have no pain. So I am a skeptic, but I can't argue if it works.
Right.
It seems to work for me.
Yep.
So what can I say? So,
Wow.
So
Yeah.
thank you, both of you, for picking me, Darius. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
It's a blessing
Always.
to both of us. But I always listen to your show, but
Oh, thank
I
you,
guess
Susan.
God said today you have to speak the word and tell the people how it is.
Oh,
So thank you, Jill.
Thank
You're such a
you.
blessing for what you've helped me with.
Thank you.
So thank you, both of you. Thank you, Darius, for picking me. That was very nice of you. And lots of love to both of you. And I hope your listeners listen to this and understand there is truth to this. It's not, it does work. And I'm
beautiful.
proof. And I
Well,
mean, if I
y'all,
can tell anybody that needs this help, it helps with eyes, whatever kind of problem you have, I hope it helps them from the bottom of my heart. That's all I want, is to send out love and goodwill to the whole audience, and hope they find like I did.
amazing. Well, thank you both. Well, y'all both look
Mhm.
great. I don't know who was in their 70s. I'm like, I don't see anybody in their 70s here. I'm not sure. I think
No,
we
I
all
really am. Yeah. Well, see,
we're
that's
good.
Jill's program. Now you
That's right.
understand why you got to do deep beauty. This is what happens.
That's right. I think, yeah, that's right. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love to see people using it and experiences. I'm gonna keep going. I know we have so many people, and it's such a great story. So amazing, especially if it lets you get out and feel better and move and your body feel good, and it just like incredible story. I want to go to another caller here. I'm going to go to Daphne. And Daphne, you're live. What's your question today from Jill? And I'm going to go back to that sheet of different frequencies just so we can kind of play around where inflammation might be in the body, what might be helpful. What's going on, Daphne?
Hi, Darius. Thank you for taking me.
Yeah.
Jill, I've listened to a lot of your recordings, your MP3s, and I really enjoy them. But I'm wondering, do you have anything for hair growth? My hair is thinning, and I'm 76 years old, but still it's thinning, and I would like to get some of that hair back.
Yeah, okay. I have not addressed that head on in this. I'm just kind of taking a look to see if something indirectly, because I don't
But you know what's
I could do a
interesting?
program on hair
Yeah.
renewal, but
You know
I
what's
would say
interesting?
maybe the only thing would be the tissues. Do you have any ideas, Darius?
Well, one of the things we hear a lot about now is inflammation as a cause of hair growth, because as hair loss, because as the follicle begins to constrict and the blood flow begins to constrict, the follicle basically starves for nutrients and eventually dies. So, overall inflammation release, overall removal of scar tissue or the damage of the capillaries, in the scalp and in around the hair follicles, all of that would seem to just begin to create more flow, which is important for hair growth. And I am speaking a
Yeah,
little bit
and
from
we
the
have
male
tracks on
side.
secretions too, which is
Yeah.
improved circulation.
Right, right.
And you
Yeah.
might find and you may find that there's other areas where, yeah, you may not have hair loss like but you have other issues that are related to that same core inflammatory response. But yeah, I mean, I'll let Jill continue, but yeah, a lot of inflammation is a hair loss issue or hair loss inflammation issue.
Right.
Right. And also, it does go in and remove inflammation on the tissues, the fat, and stuff like that that could be right underneath the skin near the hair follicle.
Okay. So Daphne, yeah, I mean, very interesting. And Jill, yeah, maybe that's something to create specifically.
Yeah, I
But
could.
there is like deep wave beauty and everything. I bet you it's in here. I have no doubt you have probably not missed it, and it's in here. Let me go to another caller. I'm going to go to none other than we've got Dr. Liz. And Dr. Liz, I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to chat with Jill or not. So I'm gonna get you on here if you want to start your video or if you just want to chat. Dr. Liz, what's your question for Jill Mattson today?
Well, my question is, do you think that you could? I listen to everything that you've got almost constantly because my husband, who's Richard, plays it all the time on his stereo, and he plays it pretty loudly, but he's a big fan of it too. And what I'm interested in is what it would do for the damage that occurs in the brain when you've had a stroke.
So maybe some specific tracks, Jill, if they are such, from what you've been working with in this inflammation
Okay, so
package.
look in this set. I have another set of music that also hits that, but the brain. Well, connective tissues, fascia. I know in the endocrine system, when I look at the frequencies, I put in a lot of neurotransmitters and stuff in the brain.
Oh, yeah.
With I don't know where I have it, but I have here a listing of frequencies in it someplace. Anyway, I have a bunch of stuff in the brain for the endocrine system. I put some extra stuff in for the brain. The other thing is ATP. We didn't even talk about that. I got a
Yeah.
couple songs on ATP, and that was just because the theme was body of light. So the frequency of light taken down octaves where energy is shared is a molecule in your body. So ATP, it's just a chemical in your body. It is the same frequency as light and exchanges energy with light. It is in your body, it floods your body at birth and death. But interestingly enough, it gives your body energy and improves electricity and communication, thinking of the brain communication. And endocrine is also into communication. But the ATP, it's like a moving battery. It's the energy. So it's a molecule and it breaks down and off comes energy. Think of, nuclear fission. You break upon an atom, woohoo, all this energy. But in a little tiny bit, this little molecule, it goes around your body to everything, including the brain. And it releases energy, and then it allows the functions of the brain to work. And then it breaks down into all these parts, and then it reforms together. So it's like a cycle. So, and I think it's the last song or two, I'm not sure, but the chart would say, is all about ATP. And it's not just giving you the ATP, which is the energy current to get the things going, such as the brain, but it's the whole process and the cycle so that you don't get out of balance to give yourself energy. And we did a program with Darius, 2 seasons ago, and I think you still have it up.
I think we
Darius.
still have it on the brain
Yeah, I don't know. You can
yeah.
tell people how to access it, but I have a
Yeah.
whole program just on the brain.
I think we've purchased just about everything that you've put out, and so we might have it.
Yeah, back to what's it called? Blissful Mind.
Can I ask you real quick about, Jill, the organ tuners in the endocrine system? Because we didn't talk about that. And Dr. Jill, we're going to jump into a process, but I'm going to ask this question for you regarding the actual brain frequency, which is 3.315, 315.8 hertz. And Jill, you've got actually a tuner that is the brain frequency, this 315.8 hertz. How would someone like Dr. G or anyone else wanting, kind of to rebalance the brain use one of the organ tuners, and share a
Okay,
little bit
great.
about those as well? Because that's another thing you've got, and we've got some before the tariffs that are available, pre-tariff prices while they last. What about that?
Okay, the way a tuning fork works is that it resonates. Remember, we started off about the violin, an A here and an A here. So if we have the frequency of the average frequency of the brain. So if it's out here, and your brain is doing well, it's all firing and functioning well, then as you sound this fork, it will resonate with the brain and energy will be created and the sound will be very loud.
Mm.
But most of us, in fact, wait a minute, I'm going to get one out. Here's the organ tuners. There's a bunch of them. And I don't know which one this is. But so you get a fork like this. And if I put it near the brain and I ding it, so it's sounding, and then I put it near the brain and the frequency drops. That
Mhm.
means that my brain is not functioning properly and it's
Mm.
not getting the root frequency.
Mm.
And so all you need to do is play this fork. Oh, I see I've got background blurring, so the fork
Yeah,
blurs.
you have to put it in front of your a little bit. There you go. That's all.
Yeah,
Front of your face.
okay. So if I put it near, then the volume goes down, and you just play it by swaying it in your aura until your brain sucks up enough of it, and then it'll sound clearly and loudly.
Wow.
The
Okay.
other thing you can do is once you strike it, and I'm afraid the background blurs the sound, so you won't hear it either. But the other thing you can do is put the root on whatever it is, and that goes directly into the body. So, and it's the same thing. You literally absorb the frequency into your body when the organ in the studies with the mice, when they gave them the frequencies of the organs like
Mhm.
this, it was mice and chickens, I believe, the studies I
Mhm.
found, they were separate.
Can you show those again? Because they're so beautiful. And I don't even know if we ever showed them last time. You can open it up. These are the organ tuners. It wants to blur, but yeah, there you go. And so they're all in that and
They're all in here.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And so the
See,
deal is that you want to tune the individual organs, and some of these things like pancreas. Do I know if my pancreas is out? Probably not. But the thing is that I could use the fork, and everybody needs tuned up a little bit. And
yeah.
just a thought to project is like, think about a lock in which you have a combination. So you have to enter five numbers for the lock to open. You can enter three, you got it almost, but if you don't enter that fourth one, the lock doesn't open. And the body, in some ways, is like that. So when you tune up your endocrine system, a bunch of glands and a bunch of organs, it's like they create a circuit, they create a whole, they create light, they work together. The sum of the parts is more than the addition of the parts. It's almost like you multiply it. So if you tune all your organs,
Mm,
then the whole organ system kind of like turns on.
yeah.
Um, and then each system in the body is going to affect something else. So, like if you tune your organs, if you tune your endocrine, if you tune your whatever, that system in your body then influences other systems. So, with medicine today, we tend to think we have this, which is separate than that. And in the body, with sound, everything's working on each other. And it's really nice, I think, to take a whole system, tune it up like a circuitry, and then the lights go on.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible. Or if you're feeling something in a particular area, you can focus on that. You can use that. You can help friends and family. Yeah, I immediately thought of Dr. Liz because I know you have a tuner for the brain. I know that you've worked in that through that other program, but we didn't have the actual tuners at that point, I don't think. So this is pretty special. We haven't had these for, I don't know, probably like 7, 8 years. It's been a while. I know that. And now I don't even know if we can get them and make it affordable. So we've got some in stock. What I want to do for everybody here, I want to maybe let you, Jill, dive in and kind of feel what process would be powerful for folks today, maybe to help them just take this experience or this gateway or this opening as to what we talked about, particularly this area of inflammation, this area of not feeling worthy, not feeling loved, not feeling aligned, and how this is affecting our body in so many ways. And maybe just there's a message, maybe there's something that we can do to lift people today even further than we have.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, take it away. And everyone, please do not listen while driving. And what I'm going to do, if you're on the live stream, you're listening through social media, I'm going to cut the live stream for those folks. You're going to want to go to uwealthrevolution.com/Jill30. We'll put a link down there to catch the full interview with Jill Mattson. Also find out about some of these tools. We're super excited about it. You've heard the stories. They're pretty amazing. And what Jill does, I don't know anyone else. Yes, there's sound frequency stuff out there, but not in this way. Jill is a true master.